Hello. Well, today is January 2nd, 2024, and I have decided that I'm going to try to do these little vlogs just to go back to being kind of accountable the way I was when I first started Verta. And so today was a great day. I've kind of reassessed my last year. So I've been on Verta now for almost 13 months. So I started on December 7th, 2022. So I just passed my 1 year. And it's been a really good year. I can't tell you enough how much has changed in this last year. But, however, the last maybe 3 weeks, things have kind of started to slip again back into kind of my old ways. Not so much, but just little things here and there that I'm worried that if I continue, that I'm just going to go back to the way it was. And so I've talked to my coach about it and the nurse practitioner, and I kind of wrote down my concerns in the app, and that lately I've been kind of towing the line as far as not being as diligent about, completely cutting out grains and such. So, for example, before if I got a cheeseburger, then I would completely not just have the bun at all. Like I would just say no bun, and that was like a no brainer. And now lately, like if I get a cheeseburger, I'll have the bun, and then I'll take the bun off, and I might eat like a little piece of it, or nibble here and there. Or if I get a breakfast burrito, used to be I would just scrape everything off and just toss the tortilla. But now I've been starting to kind of like take bites out of the tortillas, or actually just eating the whole burrito, and then just checking my numbers later on. And I think one of the things that um, was a little bit disconcerting for me was that my numbers weren't bad. And so that kind of maybe encouraged me to think like it's okay. If I had eaten like a breakfast burrito with the tortilla and my numbers completely were terrible, then that would have been a wake up call, just saying, you know what, Elisa, forget it, don't do that anymore. But because my numbers weren't so bad, they were probably like zero point 0.3 in my ketones, but then I'd be at 99 or even 87 sometimes in my blood glucose, which is normal and fine for me. So I think in my head, I kept thinking maybe that was okay. And so I kind of maybe started delving in a little bit more and more. And then just recently, we came back from a vacation in Florida, and like I ate some French fries, which I hadn't done once, not once, in over a year. And I didn't eat a lot. I ate three. So the first day I ate one, and the second day I might have had two, and then the second day I had three, and I never went more than that. But again, something that I just hadn't done in over a year, and I don't know why. I just maybe just wanted to test myself or something. And again, my numbers weren't bad. They weren't great, but they weren't bad. So I'm always teetering around the point 0.5, point 0.6, point 0.7 ish, anyways. I rarely ever get to point 0.8, 0.9, even 1. If I ever get to 1, I mean, it's probably a handful of times. And the only times I really saw consistently that I was 1 or over was when I was really sick and I wasn't eating very much at all. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. I go back and forth between whether that's okay or not. And I know that the higher the number doesn't mean the more, the better ketosis I'm in or something. But still, I've always just kind of stayed at the point 5, 6, 7, 8 ish numbers. And I've never been more than 1.5, I think, or maybe one time I was at 1.8, and that's it. So nothing ever over that. So again, I just need to like tell myself to stop doing that, just to stop testing myself and really just getting back into it. My blood glucose, um, I'm I'm pretty good at, the most of the time it's been under 100, or I kind of teeter between the 101 to 110 ish. Sometimes I'll be at 113, which I feel is very high, but I guess that's my range. But according to Verta, I mean, I guess my range is actually up to 137, which is very rare. I hardly ever get into the 120s ever. So, or even in the high teens, I don't get into there either. So, yeah, I think I'm okay. I am concerned. I'm going to do my blood work tomorrow. I've been very proud of myself because my blood work has been so good and so decreasing over the past year. But because of the last few weeks or so, I guess I'm a little bit ashamed, or I don't know, just a little bit worried that my numbers aren't going to be as stellar as they were once were. So this might be the wake up call that I need. But again, today I did really well. I went back to just I had two scrambled eggs with like 2 ounces of bacon, that homemade bacon that I chopped up into pieces, and I made a little scramble. And I put like a tablespoon of cheese and a tablespoon of sour cream. So I really actually looked at the carb count because I didn't really do that the whole year last year. I knew what I could eat, and like I never went overboard, but this one I was actually counting the carbs, and so I think it was a pretty low carb breakfast. Um, and then I had my chicken bouillon, and then I actually put in a little bit less than a teaspoon of coconut oil because I had been reading about the MCTs and whether that will help or not. So I thought maybe I would just try it. It's a new year and a new month, and so maybe I'll just try it and see what happens. I'll check my numbers today. I always check my numbers in the afternoons because I was checking them in the mornings and they weren't doing very well. So I usually do it between 2 and 7, depending on when I eat. And then what I actually did was when I was in Florida, I swam a lot, and that was something I hadn't done in a really long time. I wasn't swimming. I was treading water, but I would tread at least 30 minutes almost every single day. And then on the last day, I tread for actually an hour. And so I think that really jumpstart my attitude about exercising again, because I have been unmotivated to exercise at all since the half marathon last year. So just about a year ago, when we were in Florida last year, and I had just started Verta, I was going to the gym every single day, maybe sometimes twice a day, and I was on the treadmill or the bike, and I was doing really, really well. And then when I came home, I was on the treadmill every day, and I was jogging, and I was doing long, long walks. And so when I got to the half marathon in February, I did really, really well, much better than I had in a really long time. So that was really great. But then afterwards, I was exhausted, and I had no motivation to continue to exercise. So I didn't exercise at all, nothing. Maybe in the summertime, I would go on some small walks at the park, just because the weather was kind of nice, and it was nice just to get out and walk a little bit. But it wasn't like I was exercising. And then for Thanksgiving, I did a 10K with my friend, but I didn't even like practice for it. We just kind of casually walked it, which was really fun. But again, I'm not really motivated about like sweating and getting exercise like I used to. But today I actually did. I went on the treadmill, and I did a 30 minutes interval running, and I did much better than I thought. The beginning part was easier, which is so ironic because I've lost almost 40 pounds, and but yet I'm not as fit as I used to be. And I think I've read too that I think I've lost a lot of muscle, and I could especially see it in my legs. My legs used to be very strong and very thick, and when I got sick last year in 2022, that was the first thing that went away. All my legs just became very, very skinny, and they're not quite as strong as they used to be. So I don't feel as fit. I might be lighter, but I'm not as fit. But today on the treadmill, I did pretty well. I started low. I started at a 2.5 walking, and then I bumped it up to a 3 to start jogging, and then a 3.5, and then a 4.2, and then I think it went to 4.7, and then my 10 out of 10 was 5. I figured, okay, that was pretty good. So I started at 2.5 and I increased it up to 5. And that was the intervals. And by the time I got to the third interval, I was really dying. The 5.0 was really tough, but it was only for 30 seconds, and I did it through. I did everything that I was supposed to do, so that felt good. And I sweated, and I felt really, really good afterwards. So that's encouraging, and so I'm excited. I hope that I can keep this up. And again, maybe if it's only until the half marathon, maybe that's what it is. But I really hope that I can continue to do this, and we'll see.